How many of you were here for last All Space Considered? Does this look familiar to you?
Oh, wait.
No shake.
We're super safe here, by the way.
I've had a lot of people tell me what a wonderful job Dr. Reitzel did here to keep everyone calm. So David, let's flash back a month, and I think one of the things you were most excited about was getting out to see the tracing.
Well, yeah, that's one of the things I was tempted to go run and look at. Was I wanted to run outside and watch the needle go, but I knew that would panic you if I did it. So I think I asked someone, Bill, maybe to go out and check it. So sure, go look at the seismograph. I was checking my phone. We have, anyway, some special abilities in here, and it loaded an earthquake that had happened just moments before the big one, because I was like, it's showing a 5.3. That was way larger than that. The bigger one had not loaded yet. But Bill went out there, and what did we see?
I think it's right here.
There it is. This is after we felt the shaking stop here.
Yeah.
It was still doing that.
So, and it continued with aftershocks for quite a long time, and the folks in here kept seeing the lights go, and the projector was shaking, and it was quite something.
So let's see what our
So here's the actual earthquake trace. There we go. And you're welcome to take a look at this afterwards.
I can tell you I've never seen one so large here. So indeed, there it is. So let's hear a little bit about what that earthquake did to us here in California.
Okay, so here is a tweet, and there's a before and after picture taken near the earthquake epicenter up just north of Ridgecrest. And actually, the day before, on July 4th, when everyone was celebrating Independence Day, there was an earthquake occurred, and we thought that was probably the biggest one. And this is a kind of intensity map of how it was felt. You can see it from the scaling there. Red is the most intense, extreme shaking, and then it goes down to the bluish parts where it's weak. So it's over kind of a small area out in near the Mojave area. So we thought, well, that's done. But then at 8:19 p.m., while David was doing Allspace, we got the 7.1 earthquake, and a quake calculation on that is 5 times stronger than the 6.4, and 10 times more energy was released from it. And it was felt over an extremely wide area, up to 160 miles away from the epicenter. So the kind of shaking you get is, the closer you are, the more extreme the ground shakes. And there's different types of shaking that occur during an earthquake. Since if you're farther away from earthquake, you normally feel kind of like a run-up, and then the kind of smooth, kind of shaking, rolling vibration. If you're closer to the epicenter, it's a sharp shock and then very violent shaking. So the people up there in Ridgecrest, that's what they felt. So it wasn't a really fun thing to experience.
And it went on just for days and
it
days.
went on, yeah. And we actually felt several aftershocks, and I'm sure you felt several aftershocks from this particular earthquake. And we're going to go to the next image, because this was the day before the 7.1. And then afterwards, right afterwards, a large rupture occurred on the desert floor. And it's about 30 miles long, and you can see kind of before and after. Now you can see how that road was split, and there was an 8 feet displacement there from this image. And here's another image just taken right after the earthquake had happened and during nightfall. And even though there was displacement like this, there was also displacement kind of vertically. So you can see there's a rise of a few feet there of the ground. And take a look at this stream bed. So the black dotted line represents where the edge of the stream bed is, and this is where it is now, 13 feet displaced over. So it's
Yeah, they were sitting next to each other, and then suddenly they
there was a sudden separation of friends. This is the area that was affected, and of course, major damage, electrical poles down, water pipes burst, houses shaking off foundations, and a big, large cleanup in several aisles. And also in this area, actually in Nevada, there's a very rare fish called the pupfish, and it's been monitored by cameras, but because it's monitored by cameras, they actually suffered the earthquake, so we'll go and take a look at this. So here's, and look at the time just below. Where is it? Oh, right there. So the shaking starts, and then the water goes. So there's actually, last count was about 100 fish. I don't know how many is left now after the earthquake. But this is a flooded cavern, and the waves were as big as 10 feet.
So a lot of us were wondering, why weren't we warned by our Shake Alert LA? There's an app you can download that the city of LA has provided that's supposed to warn us about earthquakes. Now, it doesn't give you hours of warning. It gives you a few seconds of warning. It senses the shaking off in the distance. Anybody's devices that are near it, calculates where it is, and predicts how long it will take to get to you. It's supposed to give folks like surgeons time to put down scalpels so they don't cut people in the wrong spot. Bring transportation systems to a halt. You don't want to be in a subway going 60 miles an hour in a tunnel when an earthquake hits. It'd be kind of good to shut it down. Well, nobody got an alert at all, and it's because, well, Shake Alert for the past 2 earthquakes. Anybody get this? No.
Oh, they said you'd all get it.
Okay, good. As long as we make one person happy, we're good.
That's our motto.
It is. So, but this is sort of the strength of the shaking that you feel. This isn't the magnitude, the Richter scale that you're used to. This is the CIIM intensity, of course. But 1, you don't feel it. 2, felt by a few. All the way up to 5, felt by nearly, frightens a few. That's where they drew the line. They just frightening a few wasn't good enough for the city of LA to warn us. They want to frighten, if it's frightening many or people move unsteadily, then they feel you need to know. If you're just a little bit frightened and you're still steady on your feet, they figured that's where they would draw the line. However, folks complained, and there is talk about making adjustments to it. So we'll get back to you if we hear about that. Now,
About 10.
the scientists have this one.
Oh, 5.7.
So it sensed it near it, and those rings coming away from it are traveling to LA. This scientist is in Pasadena. She's a earthquake scientist.
Early warning system is saying 5.7 with 26.
Yeah, that's
Lucy
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 Jones.
Jones.
The one that was a 4.9,
And
we
here it
felt.
comes.
So this, assuming that the magnitude isn't really misestimated, my guess will be we'll feel this as it comes through. In about
10
12
seconds.
10
Here
And
it
do we
comes.
expect this magnitude of aftershocks throughout the rest of the evening?
Well, yeah, the largest aftershock is likely to be a 6.
Let's wait, here we go.
We should be feeling it now.
No?
There it is.
There it is.
So some of the folks felt it.
Yeah.
That was the phone ringing.
Yeah, so
I felt the one that was labeled 0.9.
so the question, of course, is will they let us have that system where we can adjust it and say, well, I want to know about very mild shaking, and somebody else might only want to know about the strong shaking. I doubt they'll let us have that, but maybe they'll let an astrophysicist have it. I don't know. I need to send some emails.
So if you don't have the real-time thing after you feel the shaking, you can go to the USGS website and see what's shaken today. This is actually taken today, so you can see the Chile in orange and the Indonesia earthquake, large circles. It's red if it's happened in the last hour, orange if it's happened in the last day. Oh, presaging, very good. And this is just those above 2.5. This is all of them. And there is the website. So I have it actually on my phone always. And I mean, I feel the teeniest little bump and I go to see, was that an earthquake? earthquake. So it's kind of handy if you like to find out after the fact what's going on. So indeed, you do notice a pattern that the Pacific Ocean, Pacific Basin, is surrounded by these red fault lines, which is referred to as the Ring of Fire. And so we thought, in addition to all the earthquakes, we'd give you a short Ring of Fire roundup. Oh. Okay, it's supposed to go. So it turns out, we didn't know this, but there's a volcano live site you can go to as well by the Smithsonian, so you can find out your latest volcanic eruptions. And this is recent. Again, is tracing out the Ring of Fire. The Ring of Fire, by the way, is because the Pacific plate, the plate tectonics, the movement of the plates of Earth's crust is grinding against the neighboring plates, in our case, against the North American plate. And so you get this kind of occasional slipping, which gives you the earthquakes, or you can get underneath it, there are molten magma, what's the word I want? You know, not residue, reservoirs that will occasionally come up through the cracks in the plates and give us the earthquakes. So there were 3 spectacular earthquakes just in the past week. Here they are, details of them. I'm not going to even try to pronounce them. But there was one in Peru. And this is kind of a cool. Listen to that sound. A big eruption there. And this one in Indonesia is a particularly fun video. A bunch of people watching. You know, you feel kind of sad laughing because, you know, but because of interest of time, we trimmed it. But they were actually standing there watching it erupt for quite some time before they decided to run. So that was smart that they decided to get out of there.